Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today I want to share my thoughts and reactions to everything we've been shown about the upcoming Division 2 expansion, Warlords of New York, as well as how the recently released Episode 3 narrative missions tie into that. So yeah, let's get into it. First off, did I call it or did I call it? I'm kidding, but my video last week on Year 2 content speculation was actually pretty damn close to what Warlords of New York is shaping up to be, so I'm very excited about that. Just to touch on the expansion as a whole, regardless of the awesome content it's bringing, it's honestly just a sigh of relief to see this massive content drop they're bringing to the game. As someone who's been playing since day one of Division 1, me and everyone I ever played with knew that this is the kind of potential that this game had to offer, and so to see it finally come to fruition 4 years later just makes me really happy to see. Honestly, I think I'm more excited about this than I was for Division 2 launching. It just has such a badass and confident vibe by the devs that they're proud in what they're producing here. It's just a super exciting time to be a Division fan. Alright, but let's start with Episode 3. I've played through all the missions, and you'll see footage of them in the background, so careful for spoilers, although there's not a whole lot that happens, but definitely a little bit. I thought the missions were fun. Definitely the amusement park was very cool with that haunted house part. That was really awesome, and the cleaners were fun to see. Overall, they weren't the most amazing thing ever, but knowing that this is just a prologue to Warlords of New York, it lessens any disappointing thoughts that I might have had. Like I said, it was good to see the cleaners, but since we didn't see a ton of them, it's not that disappointing because they're going to be one of the major two factions that we see in New York when we go there in about a month. So, there's that. And as for Keener, let's use that as a transition into the story of Warlords of New York, which I think is awesome. It's great that Keener is going to finally get his own dedicated story, and that being the way it is makes me much more open to the idea of us finally taking him down for good, more so than how I would feel if the only story he was going to get was in Episode 3 and we tried to take him down there. I felt like that definitely would have been rushed, so I'm glad we're getting an entire expansion just dedicated to him. It's definitely what the game deserves after hyping him up that much. The story for Warlords of New York definitely seems very reminiscent of Destiny 2's Forsaken if you've played that, where you have to go and track down various targets that eventually lead you to the big baddie, who is of course Keener. They said there's 5 new main missions and 8 side missions. I believe they're spread out along this hunt, so that sounds definitely like a fair chunk of content to me. I'm very excited that we're going back to New York. The new areas look very cool, and I have to say, right off the bat, when you see New York, even though it's the summertime, at least for me, it's just so much more enticing to play than DC does. It just has that look, has that feel that I want to go and explore and play Division in that area. So that's really fun. The fact that we get the same open world activities like control points and convoys and all that kind of stuff is going to be awesome and very fun to play as opposed to the same ones we've been playing in DC. Overall, the whole vibe of what they're bringing with this expansion, with the stuff like seasons and directives and all of the PvE content seems very cool. I go into seasons and directives more on my State of the Game recap that I posted the other day, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. But clearly they've got a big focus on not necessarily replayable, but ongoing content with the infinite progression and the Battle Pass-esque system that they're bringing in, so that's definitely a big plus. However, that does lead into 2 areas that I feel were definitely lacking a bit and disappointing with this expansion reveal. One of those is replayable content, because as far as we've heard, there are no new game modes or any type of content aside from the campaign and open world in New York. Obviously, there's a lot of massive changes that are coming to the game with Gear 2.0 and new ways to play the open world, but at the end of the day, you have to wonder how long can that last if there's no new modes like Survival or Underground or anything like that. And this leads me to the second disappointing topic, and that is PvP. Other than the pretty awesome Dark Zone revamp they announced, which I go into again on the State of the Game recap, there is no new Dark Zone in New York, and there are no new PvP modes that are coming with this expansion. Now, like I said, I'm definitely a huge fan of this revamp coming to the Dark Zone. They're returning to some of the Division 1 ideals, and that's awesome. And Gear 2.0 will most definitely fundamentally change how PvP plays in Division 2. But again, there's no new content that we have to look forward to. I think a big missed opportunity was not introducing something akin to Last Stand, which is what a lot of people have been asking for ever since the game released. PvP players know how fun and crucial Last Stand was to enjoying the PvP scene in Division 1, and I feel the devs really need to come out with a PvP-focused patch, kind of like what they did with 1.6 did for Division 1 after this expansion release. So yeah, those are my general thoughts on the upcoming Warlords of New York expansion. We have less than a month to wait, which is awesome that they did the reveal in this fashion, making it so that we don't have to wait a super long time, but also giving enough time to create a lot of buzz and hype for the game. There's a ton of stuff I didn't go over in this video, like the new skills and some of the new gameplay, and that's simply because there's that much stuff coming with this expansion. There's too much to cover in one video, so I will definitely be doing more smaller videos on different topics as the weeks go on towards March 3rd. I want to thank you guys for sticking around to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe so you can be notified every time I release new information on this upcoming expansion. The wait won't be too killer, guys, trust me. Alright, that's all I've got. Until the next one, guys, RogueGold, out.